Hi, welcome to Monday Night Chat episode 156. There are three segments tonight. The first segment is going to be a special episode called Ayuh Malaysia, where we will be interviewing Mr. Manivanan, the former YB of Kapar. So, we used to call him YB Manivanan, but technically speaking, he's now Mr. Manivanan. He's going to come in and we're going to have a long chat for about 30 minutes. And then the second part is the hot topic, and the hot topic is no surprise, is about the anti-hopping law and what happened in Parliament today. And then the last segment will be Q&A. Yeah. So let's start with the special episode on Ayuh Malaysia. Hi, brother. How are you? Yeah, we have to unmute you. Hang on. Yeah.
Yep.
How are you?
Hey, how are you? I'm okay.
Good, man. Good,
YB
good.
Wong Chen, brother Wong Chen.
Yeah, brother. Okay, so let me give a quick introduction about Mr. Manivanan. Yeah, Mr. Manivanan was formerly the Member of Parliament for Kapar. When, in my first term, he was my first term buddy. We were very close.
Sat beside you, right?
That's right. You sat next to me. We made a lot of problems for Najib and gang, remember?
And even the speaker at that point of time, Pandika.
Yes, Pandika. Yeah, I think you had a few run-in with the. To be fair, these politics are a bit strange, right? Yeah, you have good memories, right, of that first term when we served together. Yeah,
Yep.
Especially with our brother Rafizi Ramli.
Yeah, and at times it go even up to 4 a.m. in the morning. Remember?
I remember, and the classic Muhibah, right? From Keadilan.
Yeah.
I'm the Chinese guy, you are the Indian fellow, Rafiz is the Malay guy.
The trio.
The trio, that's right.
Correct.
Okay, so let's start the interview by asking, what happened? What did you do in the 2018 elections, and what are you doing now? Yeah, are you still in politics? What are you doing? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, you know me. In 2013, I was elected as the Member of Parliament for Kapar. 5 years in Kapar, and then party make a decision to give me a new opportunity, new dimension in politics, new journey in politics. They sent me to Tamlintang, Bagandato, whereby I went against UMNO candidate, Barisan Nasional UMNO candidate, and I lost by 700 votes. And 2018, I went back to practice. I have my own legal firm, Chambers of Manivanan Gowin. There you go. For the last 4 years into practice, and politically, I didn't take any off. Still active. I'm still the member of central leadership of Parti Keadilan Rakyat, involved in few committee in the party. I'm the head of legal department of our party election commission, which is called as JPRP.
Yeah,
Still a lot of things to do. Yeah.
I was nearly sent to somewhere else also lah. We all know lah, right? It's quite sad lah. The trio of us, me, you, and Rafizi, right? Rafizi, of course, was not allowed to contest.
Yeah.
You were sent on a suicide mission somewhere else, even though you perform as a
political suicide, man.
Right? I luckily survived because we had one common enemy lah, right? Back then, that common enemy has now hopped on Parti Lompat already. Yeah. So we can talk a little bit about that, but basically we call him AA lah. Everybody knows who AA is lah. Yeah?
Definitely.
So when Dato Sri Anwar was in prison, a lot of problems we faced just before 2018.
Yeah. Do you remember the G25? They call it G25.
G25 group.
Yeah, the group where they wanted to do something against our president at that point of time, Dato Sri Wan Aziza. I still remember you started questioning AA, and then followed by me and few others. There where we went head-on with AA.
I know
Do you remember?
It's a long time. Yeah. I'm not sure. I can't really remember how G25 was involved. But during those days,
they were 25 members of our central leadership signed some declaration,
Oh, not
insisted.
G25. Yeah, not the
Nah,
G25, the civil
no, no,
service.
no, no,
The
no,
other,
no, no, no.
the party group G25.
Party group, yeah, 25
Uh,
of them out of I think
I
35 or something like
remember.
that. Yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
was the
And
biggest
I
argument we
stood
had.
up. I remember we had
Yeah,
this
yeah,
big
yeah,
meeting. I stood up
yeah,
and
yeah.
shouted at them, I think, or something. I
Yes,
can't
yes.
remember. You
Non-stop
know?
10 minutes whacking, and then followed by me and few others, and actually we saved the party at that point of time when our
Yeah, and this is
president,
a
the current president, were in lockup. Remember,
I
those were the days.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, sometimes people don't understand what happens internally, but we shouldn't hash too much about internal politics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair, fair.
I'm
That's
just saying
fair.
that, brother, I really respect you. Lah. You had a really tough time. You were a
Thank
performing
you.
member of parliament because I was there with you for 5 years in parliament. You spoke out on many, many issues, you know. But to have an enemy like AA in charge of the party when Anwar was in jail, and then having prejudice against you in particular and me also, right? But they didn't do much. They couldn't do much about removing me, lah. But they whacked you, lah, brother. You know. But the thing I really respect about you is this: you never give up on the party. Yeah, they put you into a suicide mission. You lost narrowly. Yeah, but you never give up on the party. So for that, I have to take my hat off and respect you, lah, brother. You know, you stuck
Thank you,
on. You
brother.
went and served
Thank
the
you, thank
public.
you.
You know, you went to serve
This
the
is my
party.
first party. Party Keadilan Rakyat is our first party. So we go back to the core of why we choose this multiracial party. That core
Yeah.
is there always, no matter what happens.
Okay, let me ask you some basic personal question. Okay.
Hmm.
So, brother, I know you for 5 years, but the people out there, I know you for more than 5 years, now eight,
Yeah,
9 years, right?
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but the public out there don't really know you that much, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
some will remember you as the member of Parliament of Kapar. Can you tell me
Mm-hmm.
what do you do in your spare time? What's your hobby? What do you like to do? Do you play any sports? What is your interest outside politics? Anything? Singing, maybe you like to karaoke? I don't know.
Yeah. I watch football, bro.
You watch
Football.
football?
Yeah, yeah. It's like anytime, midnight, early in the morning, I wake up. That's
You
my.
watched the Man City game yesterday, Liverpool Man City game.
I missed that because busy with nominations. Last few days, so I can't. But then most of the time I do. That's my favorite pastime.
Okay.
Besides that, I like to watch movies, but I'm
Okay.
very selective on movies. I like I play games. Nowadays, badminton and not so much of football.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh-huh.
what else? Jogging. I interested in jogging nowadays. To take care, or to lawan this Rafizi, All right. Beside that, I used to write lyrics for songs. There are some good
You're a
collection of
musician.
mine. No, no, I'm
Ah,
not. I like to write lyrics, Tamil songs,
okay.
English songs, Malay songs, but I haven't published anything. Maybe soon. Soon, soon.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
songs is like poetry, lah. So maybe you can write a
Yeah,
book of
yeah.
poetry also, right now. Yeah,
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
yeah. No, okay. Back to the football. Which soccer team do you
Hmm.
support?
Arsenal, the Gunners.
Ah,
Ah.
okay lah, okay lah.
We all
I,
are
I
asalkan bukan United. You know.
same.
So there you go. Arsenal all the way.
Okay.
Arsenal.
Okay. Now let's move on to the next topic. So now we know that you write poetry or song music lyrics. You like to watch football, you play badminton, right? Let's move on now to this Ayuh Malaysia, because this program is really about we're trying to promote Ayuh Malaysia. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So when Rafizi and Izzah launched the thing, you were one of the panelists up there, right? Together with, if I
Correct.
remember, Akmal. Who else was there? There was Lee Kang.
Dikang,
Um,
Akmal, Chen Chong was the moderator.
yeah. Nick was
Few
there
of
also,
us.
right? Yeah.
Nick, he was in Dubai at that point of time, but he's part
Oh,
of
okay,
us.
okay, 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 okay,
He couldn't
okay.
make it because he was on a trip to Dubai.
Okay, so tell me,
Hmm.
what is Ayuh Malaysia really about?
Ayuh Malaysia is is a medium where we connected to the public at large, especially to the fence sitters. Because what happened since 2018, there's too much politicking where the fence sitters, especially the voters, are getting fed up with all of us, especially the politician. They are no more closer to us. They feel the ties, the knot that we have uh, prior to 2018 during the election and after 2018 is absolutely two different things. So now we have to go back to the people. If you want to make some changes, any policy changes through democratical process such as election, you have to engage with the public at large, especially the fence sitters. uh, any country which is prosper in terms of people, whether it's economical, whether social, whether political maturity, it will start with fence sitters getting in touch and getting to know what is politics all about. If they are interested, they will make some changes and you see the country will prosper. If they don't get involved, they feel they are neglected, they feel they are far from the reality. This is where a country will have serious problem and defects. And what is going on now, it is something like that. So IO Malaysia is a savior program. It's a program that is not only to win election. I don't think so. When Brother Rafizi or even Iza initiated IO Malaysia, they wanted so much on the winning election, but it's more or less a platform to reach the public, to engage with the public, to educate the public, to get them closer to us so that we can be part of them. IO Malaysia means get together and make the changes.
Okay, okay, good. So the way I look at Ayuh Malaysia is like you, lah, right? I think that I totally agree, and you have a different perspective because I was elected back into office, so I was so-called part of the PH government, but not really, lah. Yeah, we were in the Anwar's team waiting for the 2 year to pass the baton to Anwar so that we can carry out the reforms. You know, so we looked at the Mahathir administration like a friend, like a supporter, but not really there. Yeah, but you were outside completely because you lost your election, right? So
Yep.
you are probably closer to the public. So let me ask you this, during the Pakatan Harapan period until today, you mentioned that people are fed up with politics, right?
Yeah.
What is it that we failed to do in Pakatan Harapan, in your opinion, looking from outside, even though you're a politician, but you're not holding an office? What do you hear from your friends, your neighbors, your community? What are the Indian communities saying? What did we not do? You know, what did we
You
fail
see,
to do?
um, as far as Pakatan Harapan is concerned, to say that they didn't do anything or Pakatan Rakyat didn't deliver anything, I think it's unfair. They did, but the political bickering from the opposition at that point of time, which is Barisan Nasional and so on and so forth, is huge. They know how to play the media game well, whereas our Pakatan Harapan was more focusing on delivering because they have a huge pressure. Immediately after winning the election, the pressure was uh, it was quite increasing day by day. It is increasing, expectation to perform is increasing. So that put a lot of YBs, even ministers, deputy ministers from PH under tremendous pressure. And of course we have the ex prime minister Dr. Mahathir were too much into politics. He was playing games. He was like numbering here, numbering there, talking to these people, talking to that people, and doesn't take us anywhere. Can you imagine? We wanted a Malaysia for all. We wanted a Malaysia respected by all. Then suddenly he will come up with some programs where isolate the other community. then he will come up with some statement which shows that he is so racist. When public look at us, they look at us as a whole. They look at us as the future of the country. Then suddenly we have prime minister talking a different language. Then we have some ministers, they are on their own, and they don't perform up to the expectation. Over even though the expectation at times were overwhelming, but still you have to engage to the people. You have to listen to the people. Once you don't listen to the people, once you don't engage with the people, you don't deliver, then you create a big gap, and that is the problem. To
That is where
say
people
that,
are fed up, lah.
yeah,
Right now.
yeah, to say PH is not, is it didn't perform, I think uh, untrue. Doesn't really, that's not the reality. But to say that we didn't listen to the public and we didn't do enough, I will agree with that.
So basically, Ayuh Malaysia is trying to address that issue right now,
Definitely.
because yourself, in particular, Rafizi was outside the system. He already
Mm,
quit politics. Yeah.
mm,
So he was a normal citizen for 4 years. So he
mhm.
could feel it. And then, that's why the Ayuh Malaysia is packed as a try to reach the middle ground, right? Try to
Mhm.
listen to people. If we need to
Yep,
apologize, we apologize. Listen to the
definitely.
people, and then move forward, right? Okay. So that's what I think Ayuh Malaysia is. So what role will you play in Ayuh Malaysia exactly? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna champion a specific issue in Ayuh Malaysia?
Yeah, definitely. There are five teams in the Ayuh Malaysia radical policies that they are putting forward to the public at large.
Mhm.
Out of the five, if you look at the last one, is actually democratizing education. I used to talk about education, policies on
Yep.
education,
Yep.
even in Parliament during my tenure as MP. So
Yep.
it's very much to my heart, and I think, in fact, during the IO Malaysia launching, I did talk about policies on education, how we have to upgrade our education system, how to reduce the cost of education, how to make our education system at par with other countries. So one of it, yeah, education, which
So you're gonna
very
push
much.
for that area, lah.
Yeah, of course, I will touch all the other areas because we have my office also have plans to come up with what you call discussion on each topics. But the topic which very dear to my heart will be education.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know,
Good.
bro,
Now,
we Indians from very poor background, we find it very difficult. My father is just a normal security guard. My mom is a housewife. So when we were child, my dad used to tell us, things like education is your future. So we grown with that thing in mind. Education is everything. You need to educate yourself, and I hold to that very dearly. Even up to now, I will even after my work, I go back late, but I still spend 30 minutes to an hour reading books, reading websites, sometimes columns. I think we need to educate ourselves. Education is important, the key for a successful life and a
and,
successful country.
but you're a lawyer, right? I mean, your father
Yeah,
may have been a security guard, right?
yeah,
But they must have put a lot of their effort to get you educated properly. You know,
everything. It was his
everything, right?
dream. Yeah, yeah. You know my
That
mom.
is why. Yeah, of course I know your mom. I go there for Deepavali.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
makes the
yeah,
best
yeah.
food.
Yep, 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 yep. I told her this morning that I'm going to have a chat with you. I think she'll watch later. Sure.
Very good, very good. Okay. Yeah, so this is personal to you, lah. That's what you're trying to say, right? It's
Yeah, yeah,
personal
it's
to
very
you.
personal because
You experienced it. Yeah.
experience. Yeah, you experience it. You know how difficult it is. There are times you can't pay for your college fees. Then you need to go and work somewhere to get that little money to pay for your exam fees. So no, you know it's tough. And 20 years over the time, education costing is higher,
Yeah.
is remarkable now. So I think we have to be fair to the next generation. We don't leave a wrong legacy. It is our time that we come up with some ideas and some radical changes so that we set a sample and model so the future generation will be better than us. Just because you
Absolutely right,
suffer, you
brother.
don't expect others to suffer, isn't it? I think that's the wrong thing.
No, no,
If
you're
you
right. You're right.
suffer, you have to make others happy. That's what's a human being all about.
No, no, absolutely right. Brother, look, yeah, lah, my father is quite well off, lah, so I never had to suffer about getting education, right? But
Yep.
you went through a lot of
Yep.
difficulty. So therefore, when you say you want to reform, I have to take your word for it, lah, brother, because you went through it, you know? Yeah. So respect, lah, brother. Real respect.
Thank
Huh?
you. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Now let's move to the last topic, which is
Hmm.
the upcoming party election in Keadilan, right? So
Okay.
let me ask you, are you seeking to stand in any position?
Yes, I'm for the division level. I have changed my membership from Bagandato to very near to you, Petaling Jaya, because I was in Sungai Buloh. At that point of time, it is called as Subang. Then transferred to Kapar, and then move on to Bagandato. All these areas is where you can do much on policy decisions, policy brainstorming, policy on in terms of pushing up a particular policies. You can't because there is more where you need to address the public, address the issues on the ground. PJ is an area where you have a mixed uh, diversity of people. Some areas you can see is similar to your place, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Brother Wong Chen, Subang, where you have certain areas where you can see B40, certain areas are well to do, certain areas where people are surviving. So I think I should put into a place where I want to be part of them and I want to start to do policies to make real changes. So I can't be anywhere else and going through the tough political bickering and can't concentrate on my policy decisions or policy makings or blueprint or whatever. So I think by
So
being in PJ with
yeah.
a good set of team, here it is much more better for me to showcase what I am all about.
So basically, you're coming back to the Klang Valley side, lah, right? Not more or less, lah.
Selangor.
Selangor, lah, right? Where
Definitely, Selangor,
you were
Selangor.
sent exiled away from Selangor.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a Selangorian, you
Right?
see. So I have to be
You're
back to
born
Selangor,
Selangorean,
right?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
of
a
course, lah.
Kajang born man.
I
All
see.
right, and
Okay, okay,
and
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. For the central leadership, I've been there since 2014. 2014, I'm in the Central Leadership Council. In 2018, I'm the deputy communication chief. You know, uh, now after the 8 years of experience, being there among the top leaders, discussing policies for the party, upcoming of the party, and so on and so forth. I think this is the time for me to offer myself for a better position, not for myself, but for the party members, the grassroots of the party. I'm going for vice president, Brother Wong Chen, and I would like to, convey my gratitude and thank you to Tuan Syed Ibrahim, and of course my brother Wong Chen for being my supporter for my vice president candidacy. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I agreed to support you, brother. So
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
don't know whether
It's an
this is
honor. It's an
biased or not.
honor. It's an
Whether
honor.
biased to bring you in tonight, but don't worry, lah.
No, no, I don't think so because to be honest to you, I did message you late. Yes, I mean
Yesterday.
late yesterday, late, very late. I
Yeah,
think it's already
yeah, yeah,
11
yeah.
plus.
And we planned
Whereas,
this a week ago, right?
yeah, a week
So,
ago. So it's nothing to do with this show, but
yeah, that's right.
brother, I remember wherever you go, you always remember me, and you always address me, and you even address me in Parliament. Manivanan as MP Kapar, you address few times. So a man, I strongly believe in this. You should not forget your gratitude. You should not forget a friend that always beside you. A friend in need is a friend in uh, need is a friend indeed. Am I right?
Yeah,
So I think you have to hold to your friendship. At the end of
yeah,
the
that is,
day, uh, the bonding, brother, the bonding. Thank you.
yeah.
It's an
No, no,
honor.
no. You're most welcome, brother. That's why, you
Mhm.
know, Rafizi, yourself, myself, right? I think this bond, including a
Yeah,
lot of our friends are out there, lah, right?
exactly. Talking about
Yeah.
Rafizi,
Mm,
we share a lot of things, a lot of things. I still remember three of us sitting and discussing on policies that reflect the multiracial country. So I think it's time that we all should get together and honor whatever we say and put forward whatever we plan. So that is why I think Rafiz is going for Timbalan president, deputy president, and I offered myself for vice president.
I hope you two win, lah, huh? Yeah.
Thank you.
Myself, I'm not sure whether I need any particular post or not because as a MP, I'm already being invited to all the MPP meetings anyway. I
Yeah,
also
yeah.
sit in the technical and kitchen cabinet or what other cabinet they
Mm,
have, lah,
mm, mm,
right?
mm.
So I'm not particularly ambitious and on that front, lah, you know. So I will have to talk to Rafizi lah what his plans are. Yeah.
Sure,
But
sure,
I'm not
definitely.
standing for anything in particular at the moment. Yeah,
All
later
right.
at the MPP level, I'll leave it to him. To me, it's very
Mm,
simple.
mm.
Yeah.
We have
So
discussed
yeah.
few things, but I'll keep it secret. Let
Okay,
him come out
okay.
and
Yeah,
put
yeah. To
it
me,
forward by himself.
senang. Where he wants me to go, I go. Yeah. Where he
Yeah.
wants you to stay, I stay. Quite simple. I mean, this brotherhood is not just about politics. This is a
Brother, I
real
remember the
friendship.
same sentence since the first day I met you. You are
Mm.
at the same path, never ambitious as far as position is concerned. You are a very policy man. You know what you are doing. Keep it up. There you go.
Okay, okay. I get a message from one of my from my officer Bala that there are a few questions for Mr. Manivanan from the public. Let's do that now. Can we do that? Yeah, brother. Let's extend this a bit.
Yeah, why
Later,
not?
I will invite
Yeah,
you to
why
join me lah for the
not?
rest of the show lah, brother. Okay, let's take some questions,
My
Bala.
pleasure. My pleasure.
So there's a question there. Bala, you want to read it
Mm-hmm.
out first? Can you read it? I can't. I think you're muted, Bala.
There you go. So the question is, I'd like to ask, what are the strategies planned to be introduced to attract so-called fence sitters? I guess this is in conjunction to your initiative for Ayuh Malaysia. Yeah, you can go.
Yeah, may I? Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
Ramani,
sure.
for that question. First of all, Ayuh Malaysia has its own website. It is called as ayuhmalaysia.org. We are setting up the strategies. I think in due time, the team will release whatever they plan to do. For example, we're going to have some roadshows. We're going to meet the public and explain to them what is this all five themes that I explained earlier is all about. It's almost there in the website, and how these five themes will make radical changes for the country and improve the economical status and improve the country's what do you call in terms of social and economical point of view. So as an overall, they have plans. For example, as I say, dialogues. I think it's very important to engage with the public in terms of dialogue, where we share things, we listen, we engage, get inputs from the public. You can't be coming up with something called Ayuh Malaysia, and then you set up everything on your own and you instill on the public. I don't think so. It works like that. It has to be two ways. So we have the Ayuh Malaysia, we have the 5 themes. One of the most important things that we will engage with the public through is via the roadshows. Via the roadshows, we will have dialogue sessions. With the dialogue sessions, we will engage with the public, especially the fence sitters, and then we will know what they want and how to improve. On the other hand, if you look at our other colleagues already indulge themselves into new themes, whether it's agriculture, they have new ways of looking at agriculture. If it's education, there's a new way looking into education. If you're talking about what you call energy and renewable, what you call sources, we are looking at some new dimension to it. Food and security, we are looking at some new dimension to it. And we are not only looking into it, but we have our panels, our consultants, our members already start to do new things, start to embrace themselves in new ventures. That's very important because we will come out there and explain this is what we are doing, this is what we are exploring into, this is what we want the people to improve with, to look at a different view and different suggestion. Mr. Ramani, it's very difficult, when we come out and say we want radical changes, because radical itself it's big thing. It's not will not sail well with every what you call voters out there. But it's a challenge because radical is the future. You can't have the normal way of thinking. So by putting up some radical policies, radical changes, we have to engage and we have to sincerely tell the public this is what we want, and with this we can achieve a lot of differences, not just to win election, but sincere and honest changes for the public at large and for the people of this country. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Ramani, let me just add one point. I mean, there's
Yes.
the other one that we're looking at is housing, but let me just add this point. I think you're not a very young person, so you must have experienced the 2018 election
Yeah.
under Invoke. Ayuh Malaysia is Invoke 2.0 in some ways. So whether we got strategy or not, there's a lot of strategy there, right? Invoke made
Definitely.
a crucial role in strategic thinking on the fence sitters in 2018 election. Yeah, we know that the politicians are now sort of detached from the public's normal public's concern. Yeah, because of COVID also lah. Don't to say all politicians are, but there is a gap between politician and people. So Ayuh Malaysia is trying to close that gap. We are using Invoke's strategies, but as Mr. Manivanan has said, we're going out for reaching out, road shows, you know, well, Rafizi, as you all know, love to put up their fantastic videos explaining. All those are in the way, coming out in a couple of months. Yeah, okay. Bala, is there another question for Mr. Mani?
Yes, there is one more question.
Wow, popular.
Okay,
Okay.
here. What's your encouragement to young voters, especially 18-year-olds, to come out to vote in the next GE?
Good question.
Can go.
May I?
Yeah,
Thank
please.
you, Mr. Tan. Very true. When we say fence sitters, they definitely include the younger voters, especially the 18 years and above. Uh, we have uh, we have seen in Johor where the turnout of young voters are not very encouraging. We
Yeah,
know
it's
that.
not good.
All right, it's not good. I think again we can't speak a different language when come to the younger voters. We have to speak their language. You want to engage them, you speak their language. That's it. All right, what is their language? Their language is not so bombastic, it's not so hypothetical, but it is very much what they want. You need to know what they want actually. I mean, I've seen younger generation, especially the young voters at the age of 18 to 21. They are more compromising, they are more intellectual, they are more radical to a certain extent. But we, as the senior politician, we always play our game. We have our own mindset. We know what is right, what is wrong, and then we don't participate ourselves with them. I think that is what is absolutely lacking. But do you, Mr. Tan, with due respect, I think leaders like Rafizi, Iza, and even Wong Chen, they have very good young voters supports. I've seen young voters talking about them. Why? Because young voters like the language that these young leaders are talking about. That's very important. Listen to them, engage with them, and then try to bring up their policies. I've seen YB Iza for the matter. She previously esports was not something that we all know. We are not trained and brought up with these esports. But we have people like leaders like YB Iza go and take selfie with esports, player. You tell them, you tell them that we are with you. We will give you the platform. We will give you whatever you need, but you need to perform yourself. I think that kind of engagement, appreciate that. It's very important. Don't
Well
treat them
said.
like yeah, don't treat them like the 90s, 80s, 70s father son way of dealing. Now it has changed. They are more like a friend. Sit with them, engage with them, and talk to them.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're right, lah, Manivanan. The thing about young voters turnout was very low in Johor. That was quite surprising to us. So that means we have to go back to the drawing board. Yeah,
Mm,
we really have to engage because they represent somewhere close to about 6%, 7% of the voters if they mobilize fully to come out, right? And that six, seven
definitely,
percent can make a difference between you winning the seat or losing the seat. You know,
definitely.
so when they turn out below the the Johor state average, that's not a good sign. So, Mr. Tan, we are worried, but we do have leaders who can engage with young people. And we have to think that the young people are worried about the future. Most young people are. I have a lot of interns who are between the age of 16 to 25. Right? Those are my interns. And it's always the same stories. Climate change, jobs, underemployment, you know. So we try to young people, of course, they need to experience life. But they are now at 18, I remember, I don't know about you lah. I wasn't that politically aware lah. Not at the level of these 18-year-olds today, right? So we have to engage them at the policy level. Anyway, we're running out of time. So let's move on to the hot topic where we talk about the anti-hopping law. I will keep Mr. Manivanan together so that he can join us and give his views also. Okay, let's hit the button for the hot topic of the week, which is anti-hopping law. Okay, joining me is the rest of the crew, Bala, Dashini, Serene, and Wen. Yeah. Okay, so let's kick off the matter. Who wants to ask the first question? One of you. Anybody?
Maybe I can
Dashini.
go first. Yeah,
Yep.
I can go first. Okay, so I think a lot of people are understandably confused after today's session. But I think to start, I just like to know. PH has put out a statement today saying that the amendments, they agree that amendments to Article 10 need to be made specifically to address party hopping. Would you like to talk about that, boss? What was lacking in what you saw today, the draft you saw today, and what needs to be made, what changes need to be made moving forward?
Okay, Ken. But I think even before I answer that question, I think we owe a duty to explain to people
Mhm.
the entire timeline and events that has happened leading to today. Yeah. So let me just start by saying that the anti-hopping law has been under consideration for 4 months. It's not like yesterday or 3 days ago or 4 days ago. There is an impression out there like, this one kalam kabut, or they pass a too wide of a law, that kind of thing, which I contribute some point to lah. But let me just be very clear. Wan Junaidi, the law minister, have been working on this together the Attorney General office for 4 months. Yeah. So that during the 4 months period, we've had engagement with all the political parties. Wan Junaidi went and meet up with UMNO at a separate meeting to get their views on what is anti-hopping. They had a meeting with Pakatan Harapan on understanding what's the definition of anti-hopping. They had meetings with Bersatu. They had meetings with PAS. All these were going on. Yeah. And it's not easy because all political parties have different points of view. Some of them think that independents are, when they hop to another party, is not hopping. To cut the long story short, this has been a long, drawn-out process. There is the technical part, which is the legal part, and in all agreements, you're not gonna get 100% agreement. Yeah, some parties have 50%, some parties 70%, some parties 80%. And to be fair to the Attorney General office and Wan Junaidi's office, they used the majority view. Then they crafted the anti-hopping bill, yeah, which is essentially a constitutional amendment. And I was roped in 2 weeks ago to attend on behalf of Keadilan to finalize and view the final draft, which was constitutional amendment. I like the bill I saw. While I understand we did not get 100% out of this, but we have to make some concession for Bersatu to agree. We have to make some concession for UMNO to agree, some for APCO to agree, some DAP. Everybody got their point of view. But I saw the table that Wan Junaidi showed, yeah, prepared by Attorney General Office. It showed, okay, majority wanted this view, some disagree. So it was all done properly and it was drafted very well. I'm a corporate lawyer. I've been drafting stuff for like 22 years experience. This is good quality drafting. Then, now I come to Dashini's question, right? So if you all remember my posting about a week plus ago, I was very confident the anti-hopping law is going to go through and it's a constitutional amendment. Then about 4 or 5 days ago, we received a notice from the government that the bill is now going to be a 3A, a tabling of the enabling sector only. Yeah. And once that 3A came out, I notified the party that this is too wide. And many academics out there also picked on the same matter. Some lawyers, some academic, Maha, which I have to thank for. Maha is one of the great academic in town, very little known. She pointed out early that there was a problem, right? Then later, Bersih came out their version, and today even the Bar Council. I appreciate all these inputs, but it is not true that the steering committee or technical committee or members of parliament have been sleeping on this issue for months. We've already dissected all this already for months and months. So while we appreciate all these comments coming in, is we have actually seen on this issue. Yeah. So today, I drafted a counter proposal version, which was approved by Pakatan Harapan leaders to send to the Prime Minister's office. And Wan Junaidi is from Prime Minister's office. Yeah. The law minister is under the Prime Minister's office to consider, changing the tabling. Yeah. 3A to our version. He cannot do it because they need to do a cabinet meeting. So when we propose to them on a Friday night, Saturday night, they cannot do it. So today, this morning, at 9 o'clock in the morning, Pakatan Harapan senior leaders, Anwar, Anthony Lok, and also Mat Sabu, met up with the Prime Minister and some cabinet members and decided that we should call a ceasefire because all sides do want to push for an anti-hopping law. But if they cannot table an amendment to our liking, we would not like to have it voted upon. Because we will have to reject that portion. So, to be fair, they allow almost 60 MPs to voice and to give their speeches. And that is a record. Yeah. So everybody gave their speech, but nobody voted on the second reading or the end of the policy debate. What was agreed as a compromise to keep the party anti-hopping law alive is to enable the technical committee, which is now renamed as a special select committee, yeah, with parliamentary powers, to sit back and look at the draft again for 1 month. They have within 1 month to report back to us, and hopefully we can have another session to resolve this once and for all. Yeah, this is the point that I'm trying to stress. I hope you understand, but let me try and answer any other questions, after that lengthy explanation. Bala, you have anything? Serene or Wen, you want to ask anything?
Yes, I have a
Bala?
question. So the question is, you mentioned that you drafted one proposal for the law minister, right? Can we have a sneak peek of what you've actually written, or you can just give us a brief summary of what is the wide idea behind
Okay,
your
yeah,
proposal?
can I? Okay, first and foremost, we're not going to sacrifice democratic principles, please. A lot of people think we're cutting some deals on that. No such thing. The first principle is if they don't amend 3A, we are not going to debate, we're not going to vote on it. Yeah. Second principle is we propose to them to narrow down the definition, as everybody who can read English can point out is too wide, right? So we narrow down to the issue of defection. Remember the section 10.3a, article 10.3a is not unusual. There are many exceptions to association, such as jobs, education. This is to do with Bumiputera policy. Yeah? So to put in one, but specific to anti-defection is what we propose. So we put in the clause with the term defection. The way it's drafted is a bit confusing because of the court ruling on what is expedient or what can be discussed. Yeah. So if you're not a trained lawyer, if I give you the version, you will look at it a bit strange. But for everybody else, it's just that we put in and narrow down the focus to defection, issue of defection. Okay. Now, the version that we gave focuses on defection. If they had accepted it, we would debate it and even vote on it. But that didn't happen. What happened as a compromise is, because the government cannot have a cabinet meeting immediately, is that we debate openly. And during the debate, everybody talked about variation of this issue. There were 59 to be precise, who debated. So all of you who are interested in constitutional law can watch it. I deferred my debate space. I gave it to Iza because Iza has been talking a lot about it. And her number was way down the line, so I decided to allocate my space to her. So she spoke, and I shared with her some of my views. So whatever her debate is done, incorporates what I believe in also. Yeah. Okay. Now that's that part. Now, is there any question from anyone else, Serene or Wen?
I would like to try to ask one.
Sure.
So I think there are a lot of public voices that are they are sounding that they would like to add in a recall election section for this constitution amendment. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I fully understand the academics on where they're coming from. A recall election is usually for the better democracies around the world. Some of these democracies, such as New Zealand, have recall election. I think you're asking for too much, because I don't think any of the other side, and some of us even in Pakatan Harapan, don't really want the recall system. Yeah, because the recall system essentially is a certain percentage of the population, if they're not happy, can compel an election. Yeah, it's not about defection per se. So for instance, right, if say Mr. A or YBA won the seat at 50% or 51% in the last election, or even 43%. Some people won at 40 something percent and defeated the seat because it's a three-corner fight. If the proposal given for recall election enables, say, 30% of the population signing a referendum to call for a new election, right? Remember, Mr. A or YBA only won 40% of the vote and became a YB. That means 60% of the voters didn't vote for him. You get 30% of that 60%, right? Half of those to write in a petition, they have to go for election again. It's not fair. You understand that? And every election costs money. Yeah. If you put a trigger point, some people say put the trigger very, very high, 50%. Then what's the point? Because if you cannot get a recall, the guy cannot be defeated. Right? If you put too low, any joker out there can force a recall. Some of these recall elections go as low as 10% to trigger recall. Yeah. But that's for advanced democracy where people don't simply use the recall to punish you. You know? So for instance, again, we go back to YBA lah. Yeah, he won 40% of the vote, right? If the trigger is 30%, say he's from the Pakatan Harapan side, 30% of UMNO supporters decide to force a recall election, they can. So I think, in the ideal world, recall is an advanced form of democracy, but we can't even pass an anti-hopping law yet. Let's pass the anti-hopping law later, a decade later, when democracy is better and party hopping has stopped, you can advance recall election. But to ask for the sky now, I think you're not going to get traction from the members of parliament. If you cannot get traction from members of parliament, it's as good as having no law. Yeah, so let's not complicate anti-hopping and recall election. It's a question of timing and question of the status of the country in terms of what they understand as anti-hopping and what is they understand of recall and what they can understand about democracy overall. Yeah, so that's my position, man. Okay, Serene, I'll leave the last question to you. You have one to
Okay. Yeah, I just have this question. Since now we're all in the waiting process, what are the odds of anti-hopping law being passed? Since now you come up with a new definition, make it narrow and everything. So how likely do you think it will get passed? Because I don't know, it seems that everyone has their own doubts about it.
No, the people are generally anxious, of course. I understand, right? We had 4 months of getting this done, and 2 weeks ago it was almost perfect. So the question is, why did they pull it back? That reason, I don't know. I mean, it has to be political, right? But at the same time, we know 2/3 majority, easily 2/3 majority, do want anti-hopping. I mean, a lot of people whack UMNO, Barisan Nasional, but they were a victim of hopping. When Mahathir came to power, Bersatu gained another 13 MPs immediately within months, right? At the expense of UMNO. So UMNO also wants an anti-hopping, so that kind of future does not happen again, right? By the same token, some people jump to PKR, some PKR people jump to Bersatu, some jump to DAP. This kind of thing is not good for stability or democracy. So I really sincerely believe most political parties out there do want anti-hopping because they've been at the receiving end. Some of them gained, some of them lost, But they all agree, if this kind of thing happens all the time, you're going to have political chaos. And that's not good for anybody. It also insults the wisdom of the voters who voted people in. I'm sure none of you out there is happy with hopping, right? And I dare a single political party to stand up and say they are against anti-hopping. They don't want the anti-hopping law. You name any other, they were not there because they will hit them in terms of the vote. So the process can be cumbersome. Maybe the Prime Minister want to show, 99% of the MPs support him, right? Maybe it's about those issues about expulsion, whether they'll trigger anti-hopping, or is it an issue regarding independent person jumping to another, or a person jump to become independent? Is that anti-hopping? Those are technical things. But broadly speaking, we should capture the basic one, where you jump because of money or jump because of power. Yeah, those little exceptions we can compromise. Like if Bersatu insists on certain things, we can talk. Yeah, so I really believe it will be passed. Whether we get 100%, no. You cannot pass any law in the world with 100%. We get 70%. I hope we can get 90 lah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So politics is like that. And this is the point where I'm going to invite Manivanan, because he used to be a politician. And, he was sitting next to me in parliament. Brother, Manivanan, why don't you give your point of view? How are laws really passed in Malaysia, right, in parliament? Because I respect academics, of course, but they don't have the privilege of like us being there to see how the process of law is made. What happens in Parliament actually? Is it all fighting or what?
You see, a good piece of legislation go through a depth process from drafting, engaging with stakeholders, dialogue sessions, and listening to party differences. Each parties will have their own ideologies. You must engage with everybody. So the process itself is cumbersome, as you said, and it's a lengthy process, and that's how it goes. And then at the end of the day, you need to compromise certain views in order to have good laws out there. Otherwise, it will be very difficult. And let's look at this anti-doping law. I think it's a good piece of legislation. I think we need it at this point of time, especially going into next GE very soon. However, as highlighted by certain institutions or even individuals, that let's keep it simple to anti-oping. Don't make it too broad, because the 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 gap, if it's too wide, it can give you, it will let you to define it in a broader manner, and that will create manipulations. I think that is what uh, Brother Wong Chen was trying to do, make it narrow and send it his recommendation, so that we keep it simple and address the issue. At the end of the day, a piece of legislation should address the issue. What is the issue? Issue is anti-oping, and you need to stop that. Otherwise, we create chaos like what happened in 2018 until 2021. To overcome that, you need a very straightforward, simple amendments and new legislation, so that everything is under control. But it's not easy. It's not easy. Of course, we fought hard in Parliament, but I think this round is a little bit better, especially these last few months compared to our period during 2013 and up to 2018. I believe if this is somewhere 2013 to 2018, they will somehow bulldoze whatever legislation. But of course, here they stuck because it is two-third. However, uh, to be fair to every parties who are involved, every stakeholders who are involved, I think this time around they are engaging and they are listening, they are discussing, and to make everyone happy is extremely difficult. As how Brother Wong Chen put it, if you have a certain percentage, a majority numbers that can uphold the legislation and understand that is the best they can do and the best for the country, I think they should go for it. Thank you,
Thank you,
brother.
brother. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's that's what I'm saying, like sometimes, we have to understand the proper context. Rest assured, there are many MPs like myself who will not compromise any principal issue about democracy. But at the same time, we need to get this done. So some give and take is required. This country has multiracial composition and multi-religious. If Malaysians cannot sit down from PAS or from UMNO, it doesn't matter. Lah. If we cannot sit down and find a common ground somewhere for something as crucial as anti-hopping, then what hope is there for Malaysia in reality? Yeah, we have to learn to understand each other, their background, their context, who their supporters are. Yeah, it doesn't mean that if I shout the loudest, I have the most supporters that I'm right. It cannot force this down because, as YB or as Mr. Manivanan pointed out, this is a constitutional amendment. The constitutional amendment requires two-thirds. We have to get it done at the two-third basis. This is not 51% vote. So, but the beauty about the constitutional amendment is once you pass it, to change it later is extremely difficult. Yeah. So I want to thank everybody who has been sending me lots of messages from Bersih, Chin Huat, Maha, people from the Bar Council, my concerned constituents of Subang, who are all very intelligent people, send me tons of messages. I cannot reply to all of them, please. But I have been under tremendous stress for the last few days. So tonight we're just gonna sleep well. I think we dodged the bullet. We didn't get the outcome we wanted, but at least we live to fight another day to make sure that anti-hopping is done. Because Serene's concern is real. I'm also worried. But I have confidence because I think this is the law where all the parties are supportive and not a single party out there dare to stand up to the public and tell them, no, we want hopping. Nobody has said it. Yeah. So nobody want to be seen as a bad guy. So this is where we have the best chance to pass this thing. So a bit more time, a bit more faith. Let those technical committees do their work. I'm not in that technical committee. The new committee has been formed, right? But I will most likely take a part in it, because I'm sure Kadela will be sending a few lawyers. YB Sirasa, YB William Leong, and myself will probably be asked to give our input from time to time. Yeah. Okay. Now, do you have any questions out there from the public directly about anti-hopping, Bala?
I think there is one that is an extension to Serene's question with a little bit more specification. Basically, do you think the traditional anti-hopping law will be passed and gazetted in time for GE15? Well, we know that you're optimistic that it will be passed, but will it be in time?
Definitely, I think. Lavanya, as I say, recall election, I'm not against it, but I don't think it's the right timing. Yeah, because I don't think most of the MPs are supportive. So there's no point putting something that will be defeated, and then it may defeat the entire anti-hopping legislation. Okay, will the anti-hopping law be passed? I think it will be passed because nobody wants to go into an election. The day after election, people start to hop. Yeah, that is something that no political party wants. In the old days, apparently people hop from one direction only from the opposition to the government, right? But after we took over, we saw the opposition become government. They also, those BN people also hop. So both sides have experienced bad experiences regarding post-election hopping. So this is the only one time, while these memories are still fresh, the wounds are still there, that I think all sides will work and pass it. In addition to everything else, there'll be tremendous public pressure on the government not to have an election until anti-hopping law has been passed. So with your support, with your pressure, and what I think is happening in Parliament in terms of all the parliamentarians and all the political parties, we want to get this done. Okay? We are already at the 9:34 mark.
Yep.
Looks like we've run the clock fully. But do we have any questions out there?
I think you actually answered most of it, boss, right?
Really? Yeah?
Yep. We have one random questions about...
Okay, sure. Let's take the random question. Yeah.
Okay, let's look at it. Okay, this is from a question from Mr. Sim. Will PS contest in all seats or negotiate with other opposition in seat allocations without formal cooperation?
Well, Sim, I'm not very sure whether we'll contest all seats, right? Because you must understand, in GE14, we contested all seats, but that time Bersatu was with us, right? Now, Bersatu is no longer with us, So are we going to fight Bersatu in those seats that are Bersatu seats? I'm not sure. That would depend largely on the Malay segments, because those Bersatu seats are all Malay seats, right? So PKR have a Malay segment, DAP has a small Malay segment, Amanah is mostly Malay segment. So whether they want to contest those seats, I think they will negotiate, amongst themselves within PH, and then if they cannot win in a particular seat, then they may just save their money and use it for other seats. So all these are strategic issues that I can't give you an answer for. But the process is very similar. What I described is just a process. So for instance, Amanah is the seat say is in the East Coast, and East Coast tend to be past seats, right? then Amanah is likely, since Amanah it was a branch or a a breakaway group, splinter from PAS, most likely they'll contest us. Yeah. So if say that C was contested with Bersatu and Amanah feels strongly that they can have a chance to win, of course they contest. So it's all about their resources, because the opposition don't have unlimited resources, unlike Barisan Nasional, So if you have limited money, then you contest less seats. But you always say whether you can win or not, first and foremost. Yeah. There is no negotiation, deal making, all those. I think that's just rubbish. That's not true. It's always about your internal resources and capacity to win. There's no point throwing money into seats that you got no chance at all to win. Okay, same. So I hope that answers your question. Brother Manivanan, you have anything to add since you're the other politician here? What do you think? What's the process of picking a seat? You have to unmute him. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay. At the end of the day, it's all about strategy. It's too early and it's premature to discuss about it now because a few months more to go. I remembered in Johor, we sacrificed some seats for Muda, whether that will happen again or we're going to corner everybody. It's too early. It's all, at the end of the day, strategy and how strong are we with the Ayuh Malaysia, and then we have the younger voters. We are trying to go with road shows, engaging with all the voters, especially the fence sitters. Things may change, and if PH is well accepted as much as 2018, why not? But again, it will be very much early to discuss about this. And with due respect, all our main leaders of all the parties, they will go through consultation, negotiations, and so on and so forth. And I think we'll decide. Too early.
That is a great point, Manivanan. The key point you raised for Ayuh Malaysia is the entire reason we invited you to talk about this thing. Ayuh Malaysia is a reaction to the public's anger or displeasure with politics, right? So if we go and contest like what we happened in Johor and people turn out is only 50%, what is the point? No, you waste your time, you waste the effort, you waste your money, resources, right? So let's focus on Ayuh Malaysia in the next couple of months. I implore most of you, please join Ayuh Malaysia, sign up for SISTA, become a volunteer. If you cannot do it, just donate $10, whatever you want to do, help us with our cause. Let Ayuh Malaysia run 3-4 months. If say the election is end of the year, we got 6 months to do this. If the election is in September, we at least got 3 months short. Once we run our program, once we energize people, get the fence sitters in, then we recalculate and see got chance or not to win these seats. If say we only have a chance in 100 seats, then let's focus 100 seats. What to do? This is where I love the style of Rafizi Ramli. He's realistic.
Yeah, we have done it before, in 2018.
That's right. Because
it's always difficult to start something. We have changed the mindset of public at large. The voters have voted against BN, and they appreciated us. I think for initiating a second round is much more easier, but we have to get intact, and we have to get into engaging the voters at large.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate about the timing of the PKI Keadilan election. That's all. Once the Keadilan election is over, I'm sure Ayuh Malaysia will go full swing, to try and get the middle ground back. Yeah. So
it's to create momentum, brother.
I know the momentum is important. It's important.
Just to create momentum,
Yeah. So whoever's watching out there, just remember, yeah. It's not so simple to talk about strategy. We know we're at the low point. We know voters are not turning out. So let's get the voters' numbers up. Then we can
we need two types of contribution, brother, before I leave. We need two types of contribution, either in their energy as volunteers or in terms of finance contribution, So both this type of contribution is important for Ayuh Malaysia because we are working together with the public. So we need the public support so that we can do whatever we can to make big changes for the country. for the betterment of the nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mani. We got to get you back in now. Another couple of months later, we call you back in. Yeah, because
Sure.
I'm getting tired listening to myself. Trying to explain things. Sometimes I lose my temper. So, but
I see.
yeah.
Today
so
you're cool, huh? I guess.
It depends whether I'm tired or not. Today I'm quite
I
tired.
see.
Yeah, I need to go to sleep early straight after this. It's
Alright,
just the
alright.
stress of the last 4 days has been just immense. Yeah, because we are so close to. There was a chance of us losing the anti-hopping law bill.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
brother. It is
So
a
I spent
stressful
4
time
hours.
in Parliament.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not as what people think.
Yeah, and then while I appreciate all these comments coming in, some also not very useful for us because we are really under stress. Just people need to understand it's the process, not so much about the law. The written law you can have different variation of drafting. I mean, you're a lawyer, so right? Is that you must
Especially
understand?
like you and me, when we uphold principles, principle-based politics, it's not easy. It's
No,
tough.
it's not.
You don't want to compromise your principles, but then you have to argue it out. It's real tough. Anyway,
Yeah.
good job.
Anyway, that's it for this week. We'll be back next week, hopefully. Yeah. And we'll get another guest in. I don't know. I think we're going back to counselors, right? Or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, we're looking at our counselors or youth speakers. So we'll put out a poster next week and everyone can see who's our special guest.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. And good night to everybody. And thank you again, Mani. Yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
to
Thank
see
you,
you
brother
again,
Wong
brother.
Chen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, brother. Good night. Thanks to
Bye.
all. Thanks to all. Thank you.